This is the third video in the series of the Eclipse IPD builder for S1000D, and we're going to cover the mapping of the data module code. But before we start that, we'll be looking at the area of the spreadsheet that's involved. We'll be having a brief look at the interface, and then we'll start having a look at how you do the mapping. So this is we're going to be looking at the interface of the actual builder itself, the spreadsheet area being mapped, and then creating a new map so from scratch, and then mapping a spreadsheet to the schema. So before we start, let's remind ourselves of the area of the spreadsheet that we want to map. If you remember, it was located at the top of the actual CSV file. So that's the area that we want to look at. The top row itself actually contains the attribute names that we're going to map, and the value, and the row underneath that is the actual values itself. And so we're going to map that data to the schema. This is the interface itself, and you'll see there's three buttons on the front. You can get at the application of the various areas via the menu, which is down the left hand side, but the buttons are the ones that we'll be concentrating on when we're doing this. You can see here the interface for the application, and the three buttons there, New, Modify and Generate, lead you into the structures and processes to enable you to map the schema to a spreadsheet, and that when you're starting from scratch, clearly you need to click the New. If you have an existing mapping file, then you can create the Modify one, and the Generate is what happens right at the very end when you click on when you want to generate an IPD. You can also get access to some of these items through the menu options that you've got there, New and Open. Open would enable you to modify what's going on. The Generate enables you to obviously generate things. Configuration, that shows just a minor detail at the moment, there's no need to worry about it. And License, which is when you first of all install it. So to create a new map, we need first of all to click on the New button, choose the schema to be mapped, and then choose the CSV file spreadsheet containing the data that we want to map itself. So we start the process first of all by clicking on New, and at this point we need to work out what schema we need to work to, and in this particular case we'll just pick 4.1, and then we click onto the next button. That takes us to the next area, and here we actually choose the CSV file that we want to map to. So we just carry on that, and the next thing that happens is you'll see that we've got a screen come up which will enable us now to start the process of mapping. Basically, the mapping of the schema to the spreadsheet really entails you first of all selecting an element or attribute to be mapped, and then selecting the cell in the spreadsheet that you want to map it to. And you carry on doing that until the ID area has been completed. So let's put that into practice now. As you can see, we've got the data module address in this left-hand window. This represents the schema elements and attributes. So if we now enlarge the various parts of it, what we've got here now is data module code, and we've got the model ident code, the system difference code. And you'll note that across here on the right-hand side, that's the spreadsheet brought up into a window for you. So if we select the model identification code, all we need to do is to click on the cell in the spreadsheet window. Click on Set, and as you can see, the B2 that was in this window has now been brought up here. System difference code, click on that, set it, and it's gone into the left-hand window here. And then we've got the system code. Well, we'll have to move across for that. System code is there. So if I click on system code and go set, and you carry on doing that until the data module code bit is finished. You can see I've completed doing the data module code part. So what we need to do now is to move to the language element, and we come to the language ISO code, and we have to move further across the right hand side for that. So there's the language ISO code at that point there, and if we click in there as we did before, and then we'll want the country ISO code, which is that one there, and then we scroll down here even more to the issue number. And what we need to do now is the issue number, select that, and there's the issue number there. Click on that and set it. And then we've got the in-work number. It's not mandatory, but it's often an important part of working to find out where you are actually in the editing process. So that goes in at that point there. We now come to the next area, which is all part of the ID area, but it's not quite the same in this respect. That these are attributes, and therefore we need to move across even further in the right-hand window so that we can actually get at these items. So you can see that we've got three attributes here: year, month, and day. So if we click on year, do the same three things: month and day. And then we've got the final two items here, which are the tech name and the info name. Now you'll notice that the info name is actually not in bold because it's not mandatory. And click on bicycle, and info name set. So we've now completed the ID area, and you click on next to get to the next area of the. That's the end of this particular video. The rest of the mapping functions are contained in some more videos, as is the build function.